Hello, our topic today is transportation. Transportation, the Industrial Revolution. So, we are going to be looking at this topic transportation, the Industrial Revolution. First of all, in this topic, we shall be saying the Industrial Revolution, development of the transport industry, water transportation, rail transportation, air travel, space travel. Now, what was used to power engines during the Industrial Revolution? And what did the Industrial Revolution mean to the world? The answers to this question will come in the course of this lesson. When we talk about revolution, the world had gone through two industrial revolutions. They've been in revolutions in the agricultural sector, even in the medical world, but today we are discussing industrial revolution in the transportation industry. So like I said earlier, two revolutions the world have gone through. The first was entirely on the new kinds of transportation using the steam engine, waterway, the road, and the railroad. So this was the first revolution, industrial revolution. The second one brought the inventions of automobiles and airplanes that we are seeing today. So there are lots of new cars that you've been hearing of. These were the inventions of uh, man. So a lot of persons have gone into research and designing of many things that are useful to man. Many products that man is using today, name them the printing press, light bulbs, the airplanes, personal computers, even the vaccines we use in the health sector, they are all as a result of industrial revolution. It could be in the medical world, in the science world, okay? The automobile, the clock we are using today, the telephones, refrigeration, cameras that we are using today are all the inventions of man. So there are inventors and there are inventions that they have brought for mankind's ease for work. First, we have Alexander Graham Bell. He was the man that invented telephone. We have Charles Babbage that invented the computer. We have Albert Einstein. He taught the theory of relativity in physics. Then the Henry Ford we'll be discussing in this lesson. He was the man that produced cars cheaply and affordable for everyone. Although Carl Benz was the one that first produced automobile engine that was using gasoline. Then we have the Michael Faraday, even Leonardo da Vinci, the man that went into aerodynamics. Okay, that's about aeroplane. Then the Wright brothers too. The Wright brothers, they were the ones that built and flew successfully the first air flight. So let's carry on and see the meaning of transportation. So transportation is the movement of people and goods from one place to another by land, water, or air. Transportation, this is the movement of people and goods from one place to another by land, water, and air. So you've seen the various means of transportation. The image before you, you've seen the aeroplane for air transport, the ship for water transport, the truck and the trains for land transportation. There are vehicles that have been invented by man to aid transportation. Even the latest ones you hear about, you've had Bugatti Veyron, Chevrolet, Lamborghini, Ferrari, Rolls-Royce. All these are inventions of man to help transportation. So people have sat down to design and build these vehicles so that man can have it to use. Now, let's look at the types of transportation. There are three types of transportation: land transportation, water transportation, and air transportation. So land transportation is the movement of people across the land. It could be using the motorcycles, the bicycles, automobiles, okay? Then on the sea, even trekking with the foot, that's a form of land transportation. So water transportation involves the transportation of goods or people across bodies of water, oceans, lakes, rivers. So they use ships, sail ships, cruise ships, tank ships. Then you have air transportation, is movement of people and cargo by craft or airplanes. So it could be by the helicopter, it could be by aeroplanes, it could be by hot air balloons. So the image before you, is showing the various means of transportation for land, sea, and air. Now, the let's say a proper image of the land, the water, and air transportation. So look at this picture, okay? The truck, the lorry, the small car you're seeing on the screen, okay? Even the motorbikes, they are for land transportation. Then you see the ship, the yacht, okay, the canoe. These are used for water transportation. Then for air transportation, you've seen the aeroplane, the helicopter, even the parachute, okay? There's the balloon too. They are all images of land transportation. Now the next is the industrial revolution. Let's talk about the industrial revolution. Okay, like I told you, with the world have had two industrial revolution. Okay, the world have had two industrial revolution. The first one brought about the use of steam engine. So we said that the world we know today is actually different from the world 400 years ago. Okay, industrial revolution have come to replace the manual labor with machines. So before now, man used to work with the hand with tools, and it's so tiring and not encouraging. So, but with the industrial revolution, okay, all the manual labor have been replaced with the use of machine. Okay, when you want to blend your tomatoes, you use either your blender or your blending machines. All these are machines that are aiding work. You want to make your clothing, you're using your sewing machines, a lot of things. Okay, now the steam engine was the invention of the industrial revolution, and this steam engine produces used to produce heat, and it's the heat that powers the engines, making it to work. So when these engines are working, it's used on the trains, on the ships, and on the pump. Okay, one of the significance of the steam engine is that it uses heat to produce steam, and this steam helps to power trains, ships, and pumps. Okay, so let's see the significance of the use of steam engine. Now, the significance of the industrial revolution actually have changed the way people live, because during the industrial revolution, manual labor was replaced with machines. Of course, you will agree with me. And many favorites were built. That is favorite like the printing press, the automobiles, many things were built. Now, the industrial revolution actually began in Britain, okay, in the transportation industry. That is where it began. It didn't begin with the agricultural industry, it began with the transportation industry in Britain, okay. So lives on the farms and in the village were affected because people started coming into the town to seek for job, to help out in the companies and industries that were producing things then. So the major effect of the industrial revolution was the increase in products and services all around the world. Now let's see the image of the steam engine. The early steam engine that was used, okay, to power trains, to power ships, and even to pump, okay. So this is the image of the steam engine. So this engine was what was used in the early time. Now this engine uses water, and when it's being powered, it produces steam, and the steam is now used. The heat from the heat produced from the steam is used to power trains, ships, pumps, and other things. Now, the image of the hand spinning wheels that was used for making fabrics easier and faster. Now, this was the first invention. This is the hand spinning wheel. Okay, it's a manual spinning wheel that we use in making clothes. That is in the 18th and the 19th century. Okay, so it wasn't fast enough. It's tedious, but the later on, the hand looms were invented for spinning fabric, that is making fabrics. So it made fabrics easier, and this is the image of the hand loom that was later invented that helped the spinning of fabrics easier. Now let's look at the development of the transportation industry. How did it start? Of course, you know that many years ago, people use animals for transporting themselves by land on a very long distance. Some use horses, some use camels. They trek very long distances, deserts, and all of it. But with the Industrial Revolution, the wheels were invented. When I talk about wheels, you know, wheels on your cars, on so wheels were invented. So the invention of automobile. First of all, the French army officer, Captain Nicolas Joseph Cognot, was the one that invented three-wheeled steam-powered vehicle. So he invented a three-wheeled powered vehicle. That's one in the front, two at the back. That's the wheel of the vehicle he invented. Okay, so it was powered by the steam engine. This steam engine, the steam engine uses water to produce heat that powers this vehicle. Okay, but later on, engineers started designing vehicles that use gasoline and other fuels to burn. So these new engines were called internal combustion engines. Why? Because they burned fuel inside the cylinders of the engines, unlike the steam that is burning water in the cylinders of the engine. These gasolines, they burn in the cylinders of the engine. That's why they call them internal combustion engine. Now, the development of the transportation industry, let's see more facts. Okay, so in the late 1880s, okay, we are in year 2020. So when I say 1880, you've seen the hundreds of years that have passed. 200 years ago, German engineer and an inventor, Gottlieb Daimler and Wilhelm Maybach, you must have been hearing Maybach, okay, and Gottlieb, they manufactured their first car. Then later on, an engineer, a German engineer, Carl Benz was produced his first gasoline car in 1886. Okay, that should be like 6 years later these men manufactured theirs. So later on, these three men came together: Carl Benz, Gottlieb, and Maybach. They came together and started a company. Okay, so they are the makers of all the Mercedes Benz you know in the world today. Then there's an American industrialist, Henry Ford in 1908. That's like some 40-30 years after these three men invented their cars. Henry Ford now mass produced cars cheaply. Henry Ford was the one that produced cars cheaply, while Carl Benz produced first gasoline car. So Henry Ford had a T-Mobile model car that everyone was using. This one had four wheels. Okay, we're going to see the picture. So the first gasoline car was produced by Carl Benz, but Henry Ford made cars available to everyone. So the invention of wheels actually helps to move around people in carriages on wheels drawn by animals, and that is it. So this is the T model car that Henry Ford actually produced cheaply. So most times if you watch your movies of the 18th and 19th century, those old foreign movies, you will see this kind of car that was manufactured by Henry Ford. So that is the four-wheel car that was using gasoline, and it carries four passengers with the driver. So that is what that. Now, water transportation is the traveling of for many years humans have been traveling, okay, with simple rafts and canoes made from logs, then to planks, to huge wooden ships, to complex cruise ships that you know today. Now, the history of transportation. A raft is the simplest form of water transportation. And what's a raft? It's just tying of logs that can float like bamboo stick. You tie them together, and then somebody will be on top and then be using it on water. It will just be moving the person forward. So a raft is just the simplest form of water transportation. A raft is a floating structure made by tying together logs or other materials that float. Rafts were propelled with long poles or paddles. So we shall be seeing poles and paddles as we move on. So let's continue with water transportation. There are more facts. Now, rafts were used, we know. Now, the Greeks and the Romans actually started building war vessels, okay? They used the oars and the sail for greater proportion. So oars are just paddles attached to ships to help it sail faster, okay? While sails, they are just piece of material extended on the mast of a ship. Most time when the ship is coming, you see the mast up. So you attach the sails to help the ship to catch greater speed as the wind hits over it, okay? So the use of sailing ships declined with the invention of steam engines and later gasoline and diesel. Okay, so the diesel, the steam engine, the gasoline, they helped in declining the use of sailing ships like the rafts, like the canoes. Now, there are ports in Nigeria. There are, let me just list them. Nigeria major ports. You have the Apapa ports, the Tenkan Anlai ports, Warri ports, Koko ports, Opobo ports in Port Harcourt there. Then you still have Port Harcourt, okay, then Calabar ports. So when these ships arrive at the seaports, they are either seen offloading and picking cargoes. And when the ship have arrived, we say that she has arrived. So that's the qualifying pronoun for the ship. Now, let's see the images of a raft, a canoe, and a ship. So, like I told you, it started with rafts. The first image from the left, okay, on top is the raft. I told you it's a tying of floating images together, and then someone will be on top and it will be floating and move forward in the river. Then the second under it is the canoe. You see the man using an oar. That's what we call paddle here. You use the oar to move and go forward in the river. Then you see the invention of man, the big ship from the right, the very big ship that have been invented. So this ship, they carry huge items from one continent to the other, from one country to the other. So this is what industrial revolution have done for man. It has replaced manual labor with machines. So you imagine the multitude or number of things this ship can carry from one country to the other. Name them: cars, food items, rice, okay, a number of things that this ship, even during war, people move with it. Okay, so that is that for the images of the raft, the canoe, and the ship. Now let's look at the clip on ship transport. Looking at this ship, you see it sailing on a sea. Okay, most times this ship can travel for 6 months. This ship will just be on the sea for 6 months with goods, heavy goods, okay, coming to a particular country. So if Nigeria is exporting its crude oil using this very big ship, like I told you in one of our classes, that when crude oil is being exported from the country on a daily basis, we ship out 2.5 million barrels. And you can imagine this big ship carrying 2.5 million drums of crude oil to other countries. Sometimes they spend 3 months, 6 months, a year. Most of the chicken, most of the turkey that you buy from the market, the fish, the melusa, the scumbia fish, the rice, some of them, they carry them on these high ships and come into the country. Even the motor cars, they load them in these ships and then they bring them into the country. So the ship, okay, have been a very beautiful invention of man during the industrial revolution. Okay, you can see the way it's sailing, you can see the smoke leaving off the ship. So it's burning fuel internally, and then the smoke is emitting up into the sky. So that is what the ship, it has really helped man to move forward, and they helped man with a lot of movements of goods from one country to the other, from one continent to the other, easing life. Now let's look at rail transportation. Yes, the rail transportation. Now rail transportation is the movement of passengers and goods along railways or railroads. Okay, so vehicles are linked together. When you see a train is just vehicles linked together, it becomes a very long vehicle, and then they are drawn together by a locomotive. Locomotive is a typically designed engine built for use on railways. So that engine that used to carry the train is what we call the locomotive. So George Stephenson in 1814 used steam engine to power locomotives. Now steam engine can power cars, but it cannot even power aeroplanes, but it can power trains, it can power ships, and so on. Today, the rail industry have evolved from using the steam engine to using diesel. Yes, most railways now, they use diesel, they use electricity to power them. Some of them are even using solars in some countries that have advanced in technology. But if you go to Asia continent like China, some countries in Asia, China, India, some of them are still using this steam engine. Okay, that is those engines that use water to produce heat, and then the heat generated is used to power those machines. But in Nigeria today, our rail transportation is not very effective, but the government is trying to work on it to see how good it will go. So let's see the image of the early trains and the modern train. So by the left, that's the image of the early 18th century, 19th century trains. You see how old and how it emits gases into the atmosphere, which is not environmentally friendly. Now you see the image of the modern train. You see how beautiful it is, neat. Okay, the emission of gases, the emission of smoke is just very minimal, and they've built them to be environmental friendly. Now let's look at transportation. Air transportation, you've seen plane. thousands of years, human beings, they've been fascinated by the flight of birds. When you see a bird flying, say, that's the way the airplanes move. Yes, there are many legends of people attempting to fly like birds. Some will even tie some things around their waist like feathers, attach wax like candle wax to it, and try to make a move like a bird. And most times they fall down back to the earth because the wax melts below the sun. Now, the 16th century, okay, Leonardo da Vinci invented the propeller and the parachute. Some of you have seen parachutes in movie. It looks like a balloon. You just be in it, then you fly off and then come down. So Da Vinci invented propeller and the parachute. Okay, Leonardo da Vinci, he studied aerodynamics. Aerodynamics is the study of how solid bodies move through the air. Planes could not be powered by the steam engine. Aeroplanes could not be powered by the steam engine. You know, ships can be powered by, they could be powered by the steam engine, but aeroplanes could not be powered by the steam engine. So let's continue to see some facts as regards air transportation. Then finally, in 1903, near Kitty Hawk in North Carolina, United States, there were two brothers, they're Wilbur and Overwright. You call them the Wright brothers. Now they made the world first successful flight. You're going to see the image of the aeroplane they made then. Okay, so the World War hastened the development of the aviation industry because the governments that were involved in the First World War, they poured in a lot of money developing aircraft, training people, training pilots, building air trains to attack, pursue, bomb, and perform other military operations on their enemy. So most times you wonder what keeps the plane suspended in the air to be moving, or you might be asked what makes the plane, or make a research on what makes the planes to move. So you can say that a plane's engine are designed to move it forward at high speed. Yes, that's how they design it. So that makes air flow rapidly over the wings, sure, which throws the air down towards the ground, generating an upward force called lift that overcomes the plane's weight. Plane is a very heavy metal and holds it in the sky. So that's it. Then the wings force air downward and pushes the plane upward. So that's the design that was made for the plane to fly. Let's see the images of the early aircraft and this modern aircraft. So the image at the left is that of the Wright brothers. This was the plane that the Wright brothers made in the 18th and 19th century. Then this is the modern plane that was made in late 19th century. So you see, this is the plane that people are using to cruise for pleasure, even the military and all that. Okay, now let's look at space travel. Space travel. Okay, for many years human beings have gazed at the skies, and they've gazed at the stars and wondered about life in space. Okay, with the development of science and technology, humans could travel in the space. Now we could use our phones, we could download things from the internet. It did not just come, it was an invention of man. Okay, so the good thing is that space travel is just the releasing of that is satellite images close to the moon, close to the stars, to pick information from the space. Okay, the space age began with the launch of the first satellite into space. A satellite is an artificial body placed in orbit, okay, around the earth, moon, or another planet to collect information for communication. So the first man to travel into space is astronaut Gagarin. Astronaut Gagarin was the first man to travel into space. Okay, an astronaut is a person who is trained to travel in spacecraft. So we said that the space age began with the launch of the first satellite into space. The satellite is an artificial body placed in the orbit around the Earth, around the Moon, or other planets to collect information or communication. So let's see more information about space travel. Now, US astronaut Neil Armstrong. Neil Armstrong was the first man to land on the moon. You could imagine the moon you see in the sky. Okay, Neil Armstrong was the very first man to land on the moon. Now, the first satellite that was launched into space is called Sputnik 1. Nigeria have launched Sat-1, Sat-2. I think during Obasanjo's regime as the head of president of Nigeria, okay, he launched Sat-1 and then I think Sat-2. So when these satellites are launched into space, they are able to pick information. That's how You can connect your phone and watch events happening in other countries without launching the satellite into space. Your phone cannot work. Your phone can't work. So because these things are there to pick information, that's why you can download with your data. And also industrial revolution have really done a lot in the transportation industry. So we said that the first satellite that was launched into space was Sputnik 1. You will see the image in the course of this lesson. So the challenges engineers and scientists have faced in putting satellites in the space include: first, they have to develop rockets that were very powerful enough to boost a satellite out of the Earth's atmosphere. This Sputnik 1, when they launched it in the atmosphere, in the space, the battery died some few seconds, and later the thing landed back to the Earth. But the new ones that they are doing now, those ones are strong. So another challenge that scientists are facing is that they need to build light and durable materials strong enough to withstand the force of being launched into the space, because the thing leaves the ground and then it shoots into the sky and off it goes. So that is what space travel. So let's look at images of the various types of space satellite. The first one by the left is the Sputnik 1, okay, the one I said they sent into space, okay, in the early 18th century and the early 19th century. So it went there, the battery died, and it came down, it couldn't pick more information. Then the one below it, sometimes robots could be made and sent into the space to go and pick information. They'll be controlling them with computers down in the earth here. Then this, the one by the left, the image by the left is the space satellites. That's the modern ones that once they release them, they go there and then they pick information. Okay, humans too could clothe the way these robots have been clothed, and then they will go and pick information and come back. Okay, so that is that. Now, thank you for watching this video. You can see my bicycle. Bicycle is one of the most environmental friendly means of transportation. Okay, there are countries that are using bicycle as their major means of transportation, like the third world countries or the developing country like China, like India. Majorly they are using it. It's fuel efficient, it doesn't use any fuel. It's really environmental friendly, no smoke. You just move the pedals and off you go. So I encourage you to do your assignments, okay, on exercises 33 to 38. Then your question box in the portal, you can use it to ask any question. Then you take your notes down, okay, through the notes box. Okay, be good. Thank you.